The wonderful ash tree, Yggdrasil, made a far-spreading shade against the fierce heat of the sun in the summer, and a stronghold against the piercing wind of winter. No man could remember when it had been young. Little children played under its branches, grew to be strong men and women, lived to be old and weary and feeble and died. And yet the ash tree gave no signs of decay. Forever preserving its freshness and beauty, it was to live as long as there were men to look upon it, animals to feed under it, birds to flutter amongst its branches. This mighty ash tree touched and bound all the worlds together in its wonderful circle of life. One root it sent down into the sightless depths of hell where the dead lived. Another it fastened firmly in Jotunheim, the dreary home of giants. And with the third it grasped Midgard, the dwelling place of men. Serpents and all kinds of worms gnawed continuously on its roots, but were never able to destroy them. Its branches spread out over the whole earth, and the topmost boughs swayed in clear air of Asgard itself, wrestling against the Valhall, the home of the heroes who had done great deeds or died manfully in battle. At the foot of the tree sat the three Norns, wonderful spinners of fate, who weave the thread of every man's life, making what they will, and a strange weaving it often was, cut off when the pattern was just beginning to show itself. And every day these Norns sprinkled the tree with the water of life from the Udar fountain, and so kept it green forever. In the topmost branches sat an eagle, singing a strange song about the birth of the world, its decay and death. Under its branches browsed all manner of animals. Among its leaves, every kind of bird made its nest. And by day the rainbow hung under it, and night the pale northern light flashed over it. And as the wind swept through the rustling branches, the multitudinous murmur of the leaves told strange stories of the past and of the future. The giants were older than the gods, and knew so much more of the past that the gods had to go to them for wisdom. And after a time, however, the gods became wiser than the giants, or they would have ceased to be gods and been destroyed by the giants instead of destroying them. When the world was still young, and there were still many things which even the gods had to learn, Odin was so anxious to become wise that he went to a deep well. Odin was so anxious to become wise that he went to a deep well whose waters touched the roots of Yggdrasil itself. The keeper of the well was a very old and very wise giant named Mimir, or Memory, and he gave no draughts out of the well until he was well paid, for the well contained the water of wisdom, and whoever drank of it became straightway wonderfully wise. "Give me a draught of this water, O Mimir," said Odin, when he had reached the well and was looking down into its clear, fathomless depths. Mimir, the keeper, was so old that he could remember everything that had ever happened. His eyes were clear and calm as the stars. His face was noble and restful, and his long white beard flowed down to his waist. "This water is only to be had at great price," he said in a wonderfully sweet and majestic tone. "I cannot give to all those who ask, but only to those who are willing and able to give greatly in return," he continued. If Odin had been less of a god, he would have thought longer and bargained sharper, but he was so godlike he cared more to be wise and great than for anything else. "I will give you whatever you ask," he answered. Mimir thought a moment. "You must leave an eye," he said at last. Then he drew up a great draught of the sparkling water, and Odin quenched his divine thirst and went away rejoicing, although he had left an eye behind. Even the gods could not be wise without struggle and toil and sacrifice.